Grab your cup. Such a beautiful, chilly, but beautiful morning this morning. I wanted to talk about spirituality, deepening your spiritual connection to yourself. Because when people are not living deeply connected to themselves, knowing who they are, and bringing that authentic self to the world, they're lacking in feeling spiritual. So spiritual is not about religion. It's about your connection to yourself and your connection to source. Okay? Sometimes people find that in religion, but there's lots of other ways. But it's really about your authentic self, where your heart resides, your spirit, and how well you feel that you're bringing that to the world. So in my training as a whole life coach and the work that I do with my clients, as we release the patterns that keep us stuck, where we feel like we're always in toxic relationships, as we learn how to move out of stress and overwhelm, as we stop trying to people please, and all of the things that we do as a way to cope and be accepted, as we give those up, we connect deeper to self. This is an analogy that I think really works. I want you to think about your spiritual home as an actual home, like a house, because we've all lived in a house. We all know the parts of a house, and this can work really well. So if you were going to buy a house, first of all, for your spiritual home, you are the owner, you're the inhabitant, you live there, you're the architect, you are the interior decorator, you have to maintain your spiritual home, you are the accountant to keep it going, all of those things, just like a regular home, right? So if you were going to go buy a home, you would first look at the foundation, because if the foundation is not good, if there's a crack in the foundation, or if the foundation is crumbling, that's a much bigger problem than if there are issues in the other rooms of the house, right? We always want to have a really good foundation. So in the foundation of your spiritual home, there are 3 spaces to look at. The first one is unforgiveness. If you're holding unforgiveness around anyone, towards anyone, whether it's your parents from your childhood, if you have resentment, people that hurt you or betrayed you, and I get it, people have done probably really significant things, but if you're holding unforgiveness, there's a crack in your foundation. Jesus' last words, "Forgive them, Father," always talked about forgiveness, because forgiveness is huge for you and your spiritual home, not for anybody else. It's the foundation of your home. The second space in the foundation is negative beliefs. Do you hold negative beliefs about yourself, about your life? What's the conversation in your head about yourself? What's that voice saying? If you're holding negative beliefs, there's a crack in your spiritual foundation. And the third space in that basement of your spiritual home is unhealthy behaviors. So if you're doing behaviors over and over, maybe you do them as a way to cope. You feel better in the moment, whether it's food, whether it's drinking, whether it's always taking care of other people. That sounds nice, but it's actually toxic for you. It puts yourself last. So if you have behaviors that you have used in order to feel better about yourself or to numb out anything that's painful, that's a crack in your spiritual home in the foundation, okay? Because long term, maybe in the moment you feel better, but long term you're getting more and more disconnected from yourself. On the first floor of your spiritual home, now remember, all homes have certain things in common. There's kitchens and bedrooms and bathrooms. You wouldn't find a refrigerator in the bathroom, hopefully, right? And the rooms are decorated however you want to decorate them. It's individual. But the commonalities in the first floor of everybody's spiritual home, there's 3 rooms, and those rooms have everything to do with your identity, with how you see yourself. So the first room is goodness. In the room of goodness, do you see yourself as good enough to have any life experience that you want, good enough to deserve great things, good enough to be worthy? That's goodness. Remember, this is all about your identity and how you see yourself. The second room on that first floor of your spiritual home is kindness. Are you kind to yourself? Kindness and being nice are two different things. Are you kind? And do you receive kindness from other people? Do you receive compliments? As simple as that. Do you receive constructive criticism that someone might share with you out of a sense of kindness? And is your experience of yourself in your life kind? That's all about your identity, and it's the first floor of your spiritual home. And the third space there is humility. And I don't mean humility like not having vanity. I mean humility is in the way that you compare yourself to others. So humility in my training as a whole life coach, how we define it is knowing that everybody is equally good. I'm not better than you, you're not better than me. We all have a value and a worthiness. We have different traits and talents and gifts, but there's not a betterness. So how do you judge? What's the judging voice in your head? How do you compare yourself? Are you comparing yourself? How accepting are you? That's all the first floor. The second floor of your spiritual home has 4 rooms in it, and that floor is all about how you perceive other people, how you perceive the world, how you perceive life itself. And on that second floor, in those 4 rooms, we have trust. Do you trust that your life is working out for you, even with all of the heartache that you've had? Do you trust that the world is a safe place? Do you trust that there's a higher intelligence that knows what's best for you? The second room on that second floor is love. How freely do you give and receive love? Remember, down on that first floor is goodness and kindness. If those rooms aren't so great, you're not receiving love from other people. You may be great at giving it out, but not so great at receiving. You may have a wall up around your heart. You may not really know how to let yourself receive love. You may not love yourself. So that whole interaction with other people and the rest of the world around love. The third room on that second floor is joy. So many women that I speak with say, I don't even remember what joy feels like. It's been so long since I felt joyful, because they've spent so much of their time and energy and effort focused outward, working hard, giving to other people. Can you see how there's rooms in their spiritual home that are either vacant, or the curtains are closed and they're dark and it doesn't feel good to be in? Joy could be one of those rooms. Living your life from a space of joy is critical. And then the fourth room on that second floor is peace. And peace can only occur when those other rooms are well maintained and brightly lit and, a good space to be in. You can't have peace if you don't love yourself. You can't have peace if you don't think you're good enough. You can't have peace if you're not trusting. So peace is kind of dependent on those other spaces. Now, the attic of your spiritual home, there's 2 spaces up in the attic. And this is how you respond to the world. So everything else is how you perceive either yourself or others. The attic is how you respond. How do you respond to the world? And there's 2 rooms up there. The first one is patience. Do you have patience that things are going to work out in the timeline that's okay? Do you have patience with other people? Do you have patience with yourself? So that's all your response. And the second space up there is self-control, which is kind of related to down in your basement, your unhealthy behaviors. But do you have self-control so that you can stick with creating the life that you want? So I hope that analogy was helpful, seeing how your spiritual home is. And as we do the work on returning to you, we work on clearing out the clutter in your home, fixing the cracks in your basement. We do work on forgiveness, but fixing those cracks, decluttering, repairing, opening it up, changing the decoration so it feels good to be in those rooms. If you're interested in that, put spiritual in the comments, and myself or my team will reach out to you about the work that we do. Have a good day.